to the Kaged Review. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, and my first question is, what the hell is going on with WWE nowadays, man? Like, I used to love it. I mean, when I was a kid, it was so cool. You got to see all these larger-than-life characters, these really cool feuds, Attitude Era, man. Everybody had a great personality in there. And it's like, they've just lost all talent. Like, virtually nobody in the WWE right now has an actual character that they use. Nobody. And I mean, it's sad, dude, because not only that, but like, there's so many people that can't wrestle, and that used to be a problem even back in the day sometimes. There were a lot more very talented wrestlers back in the day, but now it's just like, I mean, it's really lacking. So, as you can see, I'm about to do a review for WWE, and this is going to be for Raw, and it's for July 2nd. And, you know, I mean, they're going right back to the status quo. This show, right off the bat, I mean, after the first segment, I was already as uninterested as I could possibly fucking be. And it's because you start out with Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. They open up, it starts off with Roman Reigns cutting a promo. Dolph Ziggler coming out with Drew McIntyre saying Roman Reigns stuck his nose in their business, so they jump Roman. Seth comes out to help Roman Reigns. So, I mean, you get a backstage segment right after that where Roman and Seth are talking to Kurt Angle, and Roman's saying that he wants a match with Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. But the problem is that he already has another match with Bobby Lashley going up against the Revival. And the thing here is, quite frankly, they're back to shoving Roman Reigns down our throats when, I mean, I think the fans have made it abundantly clear in the last several years now that we don't want Roman Reigns as the guy. I know there's going to be exceptions to that, and, you know, everybody has their own personal flavors and opinions, and that's fine. But overall, I don't know anybody that has been booed out of arenas, who they've had to change the endings for pay-per-views, who they've had to change entire pay-per-view matches because they cannot get him over and they continue to try to push him. So it just goes to show how out of touch WWE is. And, you know, there's got to be some point where it's like, you don't really know what the reasoning is behind this or why WWE does what they do. I have to believe, honestly, part of it is Roman Reigns is a big merchandising product for, like, kids who, you know, buy the toys and the gear and shit. And so that's dollar signs for the company. But quite frankly, for the people who want to watch wrestling, it kills it. And the biggest issue I have with WWE is it is gone considerably more commercial and PC since the days I used to watch it. And while it may be great for their business, I think it sucks for the genuine wrestling fans. So moving on from that, you get Matt Hardy versus Curtis Axel. Axel and Dallas cut another really cool promo. I said last week I like that they're kind of funny now with their promos and they're kind of entertaining. And it's nice because Axel and Dallas were like nobodies. They weren't really relevant at all. And at least they're making a big effort and they're getting a chance and they're using it to their fullest advantage, I think. Bray Wyatt wasn't here because he was in a car accident apparently. And he had missed this show. So Hardy versus Axel. Axel gets the win again. At least they're building this up a little bit where, you know, you don't know if the B team's really going to win or not. A little interference from Bo Dallas, but I mean, they're supposed to be the heels. After that match, you get a segment with Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley. Not good at all. And it basically goes, Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley are trying to figure out how they're going to work out together and team up tonight. And Roman Reigns is saying, don't worry, Lashley, I'll just do everything. And of course, Lashley doesn't like that. Then you get The first segment for Bayley and Sasha Banks with Dr. Shelby. If you don't remember Dr. Shelby, if you've never heard, he was this mock psychiatrist that Daniel Bryan and Kane used to talk to when they were Team Hell No originally. And it's funny that they just brought back Team Hell No on SmackDown and Shelby on Raw. Unfortunately, this didn't carry a lot of the magic that Daniel Bryan and Kane had, even though they were pretty weird, awkward segments even back then with those two. But now, because these two really, I don't know, can't sell it, I won't say those two, I'll say Bayley. I actually think Sasha Banks did a much better job than Bayley did in these promos. Bayley's just not good at selling. I'm sorry. She's just not. She's great in the ring. I like her in the ring, but as far as promo work, I'm not a fan, to be very honest. So, kind of an awkward, really weird introduction to this new therapy session between Bayley and Sasha Banks. Very awkward, honestly. Then you get Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews versus the Authors of Pain. You kind of figure that they're going to get the Authors of Pain to go over because that's, you know, the new big team right now that they just pulled in from NXT. And of course they do. They go over. Authors of Pain get the clean win. There you go. Backstage, Seth and Roman, they're talking about, you know, is Roman going to be able to do this tonight with 2 tag matches? No big deal. Then you get Roman and Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. And I was really, really worried because what I was going to say earlier is you kind of have to get the feeling at sometimes that, you know, the reason people make so many jokes about Vince McMahon just masturbating to every Roman Reigns match is because, like I said, the guy has not been anybody in the fans, and the real wrestling fans, have wanted to see in the main event picture. They boo him out of the buildings, and they've had to change so much because of this, and yet they still push him. They still, you know, like, want him as a top guy, and I have to think it's merchandising. But then you get guys like Drew McIntyre, they bring in, and this guy is huge, 6'5", he's built like a brick shit house, he's got a lot of potential. And the first thing you do is put him in a match with Roman Reigns. You know you're not going to have Drew McIntyre going over Roman Reigns because it's fucking Roman Reigns. And so you take what has a potentially great build, and my fear is that you're automatically going to feed him to Roman Reigns, which would fucking stop any push that he starts right away. And this is the problem with WWE. I mean, this is the problem with the writing and not understanding the crowds today. I mean, it's just, you do everything wrong. And so, I was really afraid of that. It was kind of a balanced match. I mean, they had moments where McIntyre looked strong, but of course they had more moments where Roman looked strong. But thankfully, they kind of saved it a little bit. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins get the win via disqualification when the Revival come out and they start attacking. I think it was Roman, maybe it was Seth, no. I think it was actually... No, Revival attacked Roman and Dolph attacked Seth. So, at least they kind of saved McIntyre some face there. Backstage, after that, Kurt Angle, Kevin Owens bit where Kevin Owens is trying to get out of a match that Kurt Angle just made with Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens later. Then you get fucking horrible in-ring segment with Baron Corbin and Finn Balor. I'm not a fan of Baron Corbin at all in any position. He just has no fucking personality, man. I mean, when the guy gets in there, I expect him to at least try to make it, like, entertaining. And this guy has got zero personality. And I don't think he's that good in the ring. Finn Balor, I don't know, man. He's amazing in the ring at times. But even with him, I don't know that I'm completely sold on his in-ring promos. And then you get this weird bit with Elias and Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan after that, where they're listening to Elias and then they just start tearing shit up backstage. Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Didn't make any sense. Just really weird. After that, you get Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan. Honestly, I hate to say it, but this might be the highlight of the night for me. Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan was a pretty good match. Liv Morgan was pretty good in this match. I mean, I think like she did pretty good. Now there were a couple of spots where it was like a little bit mistimed and shit like that, but nothing bad. Like nothing that really took away from it too much. Hard fought. A lot of times I thought Liv was going to take it. Ember Moon gets the win in the end, hits the Eclipse. So that was cool. Then you get the second Sasha Bayley Dr. Shelby bit after that, which was way worse than the first because you had Bayley trying to do a Sasha Banks impression and it was god awful. Just terrible. The quickest way to kill a feud, I think, today is to try to have a comedy bit with it because quite fucking frankly, the writers are horrible and the comedy in WWE lately has been less than not funny. It's been cringeworthy. So you get cringe session number 2. And then we move on to Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns versus The Revival. Fucking don't care about match. I said last week, they've really screwed up Bobby Lashley's comeback. Nobody really cares about Roman. And you have The Revival, who has beaten them one time. And that's all they've done since they've come to the main roster. So, I mean, you just can't get invested in this. You can't get invested in the Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley feud. You just can't do it. So, the match is what it is. Roman starts. He will not tag Bobby Lashley. He goes the whole way. The Revival are just beating on him the whole time. Finally, Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns get the win via disqualification because the Revival wouldn't stop a corner beatdown. So, at that point, Bobby Lashley just walks away from the ring and Roman Reigns just gets his ass handed to him by the Revival again. I actually thought this was a very, very stupid, lazily written segment because why in the hell would the Revival just disqualify themselves, get the loss on a beatdown on Roman Reigns? It's not like they're trying to take him out for anything serious. It's not a competition. There's nothing that this leads to for the Revival. It didn't make any sense. All it does is give Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns the win. So I felt like it was just it's terrible. It was just really terrible. You get a Roman Reigns Kurt Angle bit after the match where Roman's like, I want him at Extreme Rules, and he's talking about Bobby Lashley, of course. And Kurt Angle's like, don't worry, I just talked to Bobby already. The match is set. So there's one match we could not give a fuck about at Extreme Rules. After that, a stupid ass segment with No Way Jose and Mojo Rawley. I don't know why they're building this up, and quite frankly, they're not doing anything with it because they're not even having any matches. Mojo Rawley doesn't want to have the match. He sucker punches No Way Jose. Second week in a row that's happened. Nobody cares. Then you get Nia Jax with Natalya versus Mickie James with Alexa Bliss. Everybody knows at this point I'm not a fan of Nia Jax. I was not impressed with the match. Nia Jax gets the win and I couldn't care. And then that brings us to what could have possibly been the good match of the night, except it was no match. Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman. It barely starts. Kevin Owens runs away, gets the count out. Braun Strowman goes after him. Same thing as last week. Kevin Owens is going for his car. Magically can't find his car keys. Braun Strowman's chasing him. Kevin Owens goes to hide in a porta potty, so you know what's coming next. Nothing we haven't seen before. Braun Strowman takes the porta potty back up to the ramp, onto the main stage, pushes the porta potty off the main stage with Kevin Owens in it. And that's how they end the show. So, literally your best match of the night and your best build-up, Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan. That's it. That was it. Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan was your best match of the night. Everything else was shit. And like I said, I used to love wrestling. I used to love being able to suspend disbelief, and I like the edginess of it. I like the storytelling they had with it. Now it's like they cannot carry a storyline for 2 weeks. And they want to blame it on people having a short attention span, but honestly it's just not true. They just don't want to invest the time in shit anymore. So, a complete disappointment all the way through. I'm giving it a 0 out of 10, quite frankly. I'll give it a half out of 10 for Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan. They deserve that much. 1/2 out of 10. That's what I think about it. This show absolutely sucked. Bayley versus Sasha Banks was just absolute cringe for both segments. A whole lot of Roman Reigns that I just didn't give a shit about. So, yeah, I mean, they have completely lost it with this. It was garbage. Complete garbage. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm being too hard on these guys. I don't think I'm being too hard on them. I think they really need to improve their product. I think they need better talent and better writers. And they're not investing in either, and that sucks. And the product has just gone incredibly downhill. But anyways, if you enjoyed the review, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. Kaged Nation out.